So we just had yet another crazy night of NBA basketball. We had the Lakers absolutely collapse against the Bulls, where they were up by 5 with 10 seconds left and lost that game. And then we had OKC versus Memphis, where it was 99-97 Memphis with 7 minutes left. And then they end up losing by 21 points. OKC seems to do that a lot, just turn it on, flip that switch, and blow teams out. But those two results makes things a lot more interesting as we wind down the end of this regular season, especially when you find out the next game they play is against each other. So after that game, one of those teams is going to be only one game ahead of the Warriors and the Clippers in the loss column. Assuming the Warriors and the Clippers take care of business, the Clippers' next game is against Brooklyn. The Warriors' next game is against New Orleans. Now, nothing is a given, but if they win those games, they're going to be one game behind either the Lakers or the Grizzlies. And sorry to all my Grizzlies fans, but we need the Grizzlies to be the team to lose that game for a couple reasons. One, the Lakers already have the tiebreaker over the Clippers and over the Warriors. So, that takes a little bit of the fun out of that, race to the end, because even if the Lakers finish with the same record as the Warriors and the Clippers, the Lakers are going to be above both of those teams. The Grizzlies, on the other hand, have already lost their tiebreaker with the Clippers. So again, the Clippers will be the higher seed if they finish with the same record. And then they are down 2-1 in the season series to the Warriors with one more game left, which essentially could make that Warriors game feel like it's worth 2 games, because it actually is if the records are close enough. And unfortunately for the Grizzlies, their schedule is very, very tough. Like I said earlier, their next game is against the Lakers, then they have Boston, then they have Golden State. If they lose Lakers and Boston, and the Warriors win their next 2 games, which is New Orleans and San Antonio, then they head into that matchup with the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies could very well end up being the 7th seed in the next 3 games. It could happen that quickly. And then after that 3-game stretch, they have Miami, they have Detroit, they have Charlotte, whatever. Then they have a back-to-back Minnesota, then at Denver. Now, luckily for them, they already have the tiebreaker over Minnesota, so I don't really see a world where they fall all the way down to 8. And by the way, this is not something that I'm predicting, but it is something that I would want in terms of just having chaos in the NBA. And I would also like to guarantee the Warriors a playoff spot, because I want to see Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler in the playoffs. So I am rooting for it in that way, but I'm not rooting for the Grizzlies to fail. I'm rooting for the chaos of it. But we can also live in a hypothetical of the other way around, where the Lakers lose that game against Memphis. And the Lakers don't look great right now. Like I just said, they collapsed against the Bulls and they've been struggling. They lose to Memphis, let's say. Then they got Houston. Then they got Golden State, New Orleans, okay. Then they got OKC, Dallas. AD's probably playing in that game. Luka in Dallas. Then they got Houston again, Portland, which is always tough, but that's a very, very tough schedule. Again, it is a little bit less intriguing here because we know they have the tiebreaker over the Warriors. We know they have that, where Memphis could have the same record as the Warriors and be under them. But the Lakers are 1-4 in their last 5, and LeBron has played in 4 of those games and he hasn't looked great. Of course, he's still going to put up numbers because he's LeBron, but he just doesn't look great out there right now. And these are some young athletic teams that are really going to test those limits of LeBron on the growing injury. Memphis, Houston, Golden State, New Orleans, OKC. I think there's a real world where that is a 3-3 stretch. And if one of those else happens to be the Warriors there, it could get pretty interesting. And I'm really looking at those Rockets games because historically the Rockets have given the Lakers a ton of problems. Jalen Green has given the Lakers a ton of problems, and they play them 2 more times. I think the Lakers are going to need to go 6-3. I think 6-3 and they're safe. If they go 5-4, that opens the door for the Warriors to go 8-2 and be above the Lakers. I wouldn't bet on that. I would actually assume, knowing the Warriors, they're going to lose one of these next 2 games to New Orleans or San Antonio. It just seems like something they would do. But they do have 3 quote-unquote easy games, I guess. They have New Orleans once, they have San Antonio twice, and then they have a bunch of tough games besides that. They got the Clippers on the last day of the season, which might come down to who makes the play-in or not, or who makes the playoffs or not. You guys get what I'm saying. But they got Lakers, Memphis, Houston, Phoenix, Portland, Clippers. Those are all tough games. But if they win, let's say 4 easy ones, right? Let's say New Orleans, San Antonio, Portland, they win all those. And then they would just have to go 4-2 against the Clippers, Lakers, Denver, Houston, Memphis, Phoenix. I know I'm saying that like it's easy. And like I said, I believe the Warriors are going to lose one of those quote unquote easy games because that's what the Warriors do. But it is setting up for an extremely exciting finish to the regular season. We've kind of been slogging for a bit and we're about to pick up for the last couple weeks or so. And when we do this, schedule watch, we love to say what's a tough game, but we all know a lot of these teams might end up resting. Now in the West, it's kind of hard to say. Like you look at the Lakers schedule and they have 2 OKC games and you think those are L's, but they might sit Shea in those games because why would they play him at that point? And that team still might beat the Lakers, so you never really know. Houston and Denver, we don't know if they're going to separate a little bit from the pack here, or even if those two teams are competing for the 2 seed. Are they gonna, play the Lakers in those games or play the Warriors in those games or play their stars in those games? I mean, like, we have no idea when we just look at the schedule. We could look at strength of schedule and we have no clue how that's actually gonna play out. So again, sorry Grizzlies fans, but I need you guys to lose your next 2 games and set up that big matchup against the Warriors. That's gonna feel like a playoff atmosphere. And the last thing I'm gonna say here about this playoff push in the West is Anthony Davis coming back was an extremely pleasant surprise. It seemed like he wanted to come back and the team did not want him to come back, in large part due to lottery odds, and also you don't want him to come back and get hurt, which is a real possibility with Anthony Davis. But now that he is back, I really wasn't sure how they were going to play it. Thought maybe they give him 20 minutes a night. He's playing real minutes. He played 29 minutes last night, did not look good, but he's playing, and if he's going to continue to play, I would like to see the Mavericks over Sacramento or Phoenix, right? Now, of course, I would want the Warriors and Minnesota to make it first, but if there was going to be an upset in a play-in, I would want it to be Dallas. And if we're just talking about Phoenix, Sacramento, and Dallas, I would say Dallas has the best chance. I mean, none of them have a chance against OKC, but I would say Dallas has the best chance because AD is a difference maker in that way. AD is someone that can wreck your game plan on both ends of the floor. He's someone that can punish you. Whereas, DeMar DeRozan might get hot, Zach LaVine may get hot, but OKC can cut that off at any point. Same thing with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. Like, they don't do things that make you change your game plan. You just feel like we could play those guys straight up and they're going to miss their mid-range jumpers eventually, and we're going to score a lot easier on the other end, where AD could punish you at the rim on both ends of the floor and just provide more obstacles. And you got defenders around AD. Again, I'm not saying they could be OKC, but to me, it would just be more fascinating than watching Kevin Durant and Devin Booker take 20 mid-range jumpers against the best defense in the NBA. And I'm also fascinated to see what AD can do in this role. We kind of just accepted who AD was as a player, and it was kind of unfair because no matter what he did, he wasn't going to be able to outshine LeBron. And I don't even mean that like in terms of the conversation. I mean in terms of on the court. Like, AD could have improved as a player the last couple years, but we would have no way of knowing that because LeBron is going to do everything LeBron does. So in his first game with Dallas, he puts up 7 assists in 31 minutes. That's not the AD we know, but maybe that's the AD we're going to see going forward. We don't really know what this next chapter of AD looks like. And that's also why I'm fascinated by the idea of the Mavericks making a run to the playoffs, to see AD in this new role, to see what AD as a clear #1 looks like in 2025 as opposed to 2018. It just really sucks that they can only play OKC, because if they could play Houston or even Denver, I might try to convince myself they can maybe be an upset team, even though I don't really believe that. But AD, Najee Marshall, Klay Thompson, Spencer Dinwiddie, Caleb Martin, these are guys that can get hot. These are guys that know how to play playoff basketball. These are veteran guys that can defend. Like, the team isn't that bad, even without Kyrie, but they would have to get like Gafford back, and it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But yeah, so back to the original point of this video, the next couple games for the Grizzlies will really determine how close the end of this season will be. It might determine whether the Warriors or even Minnesota can sneak up to a possible 5 seed or just guarantee a 6 seed. It's going to be really, really interesting. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Please like, comment, subscribe. It would mean the world to me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm out. Peace.